Hey everybody, it's Monday, and as promised, I'm giving you the update on Hcmc. This time we are having a look at the fundamentals of the company again. I know we have done this in the past, but I do want to do it now and again every so often, just that new investors are reminded of what they're getting themselves into. Because now and again I do hear a lot of opinions being spread about the company, but some of these are not necessarily true, so I think it is important to get the facts out there as often as possible. So if you guys have watched our previous videos, look at the fundamentals, nothing has really changed. Again, this video isn't really covering anything new, it's just updating people on stuff that they may not know. So again, if you know what we're about to talk about, don't feel the need to watch this video. We'll be back to doing usual videos tomorrow, where I want to actually look at something interesting, which we haven't really talked about in too much detail on the channel before, so that will be cool and interesting for tomorrow. But yeah, this one is going to be looking at the fundamentals. If you may enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because we do talk about Hcmc pretty much every single day, as you guys do enjoy the content. And again, this is not financial advice, it's just my personal opinion, but again, if you may enjoy it, do subscribe. Yes, we're going to jump over to the Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at N2SFinance, you can see it right there. Thank you for all of those of you who have already followed us. It doesn't go unnoticed, and it is appreciated. And you can join us on Patreon, you can see the link to that in the description. We now have a new website called marketsdaily.com, markets-daily.com, where we give updates on all sorts of stocks, as well as Hcmc. So again, if you want to see specific and exclusive updates on this stock, go and check out that website, and I think you will enjoy it. But now we're going to jump in and we're going to look at Hcmc, and actually we're going to start off looking at the price action that we have been seeing today, because we've seen a little bit of interest in price action, and for this we are going to go over to the more simple charts, just because it makes a little bit more sense. So you guys will remember on the 5-day, Hcmc was starting to jump down to the 0.0009 range, and again, that is really where we don't want Hcmc. We do want it to remain in this 0.0010 range, and by the way, I don't think it's too important that Hcmc does drop, to the 0.0009 range. Yes, it's not for the best, but I don't think it's too important for reasons which I will discuss in just a moment. But yeah, we do want to see this one remain in the 0.0010 range, because that is a much better level for the stock. And if we look at where we were in the past, we have definitely seen some support in this 0.001 range before. So again, if we can find some support there again, that would be fantastic, and it would be a really nice level to see some uptrend start again on this stock. But again, where we are right now, I'm very happy with it, and again, we could drop a bit further, I do believe, for reasons which I'll discuss in this video, but all of that is coming up. So let's actually have a look at what this company does do. So Hcmc is a company which provides healthier alternatives to everyday lifestyles, as it does say down there on their website. Honestly, I have read this so many times, I can basically memorize it, and that is what it says. Yeah, so they basically provide healthier alternatives to everyday life choices, and that is also reflected in the company's name. It is kind of self-explanatory, but there you go. Basically, Hcmc owns intellectual property suite comprised of patents issued both in the United States and Canada. These patents have primary focus on safer vaping technology, as well as synthetic or imitation nicotine compositions as well, processes and methods of manufacture as well. And if we look a bit further down, we can see Hcmc continues to innovate and expand, and hopes to expand this suite further. When we scroll down a bit further, we can see the other areas of business. So as I just discussed, there is the intellectual property holdings down here, but they actually also offer healthy choice markets, which are basically organic, local and fresh supermarkets. And again, there are 4 of these, I do believe, and these are mainly located in the Florida area. So again, that is something that could be expanded upon in the future, because they're clearly not all over the United States, but it is definitely a good start, and I can see the benefit of these stores. But again, the downside of this is, unfortunately, they are not accessible to everybody, and again, that is an area where this part is not superior to some other alternatives. If we look over here, we can see the Healthy Choices Vitamin Store, which is basically a store for vitamins and supplements. It's based online, so basically anybody can book from it. I think this is a really clever area of business, and I'll talk about that in just a moment as well. But we can also see the main area, in my opinion, which is either the vape store or the Q-Cup business itself. Now, they apparently have 7 vape stores across the southeastern United States, and again, these are good because vaping is definitely a growing market, as it does discuss down here. And I think going forwards, if they can expand upon this, which they could potentially wish to do, it could be a very profitable industry for them as well. So I think vaping is going to be a big area, and I think the Q Cup itself is definitely going to be a really big thing going forwards, and we'll talk about this all in this video, because the Q Cup, we've had some very recent updates about the Q Cup, and I think, you know what, this product could be a really beneficial one for Hcmc to have. But let's get back to why I think both the vitamin store and the vape stores are the most profitable areas of business. So clearly the vape store is going to be good, and so is the Q Cup vaporizer, but obviously only a certain amount of people do vape, and there are definitely some negative side effects to vaping, whereas actually when we look at vitamins are actually good for people to take. So again, I think that the vitamin store is a great way for Hcmc to actually build their revenue, because it is really a healthy way to improve your lifestyle, and obviously it is something which everybody can take, because if you want to start vaping or using the Q Cup, you will need to start up vaping, and again, not everybody is willing to do that. So I think actually including the vitamin store in the business model is a really big area. But getting back to the vape store specifically, I think vaping, as I do mention, is going to be a really big industry going forwards, as people do look to a healthier alternative to smoking. And also, when we go down here, we can see the Q Cup, which I mentioned, is a really unique product, and I think people definitely are starting to get a grip of how big of a product this could be. So that is what the company does. They basically provide healthy alternatives to everyday lifestyle choices. I think this company really could be big going forwards, as you guys will know by now. When we scroll down to here, we can see the amount of interest from investors, as on StockTwits, Hcmc has about 88,000 followers. Now again, StockTwits is not necessarily an indication of how popular a company is, but 88,000 for a penny stock on StockTwits really isn't that bad. And last time that we had an update from the company, we found out that they had over 400,000 shareholders, which again, for a penny stock company like this, really is quite a big number. So it just shows the amount of interest that people do have in this company. Now let's get to a big thing which people are talking about, and this is obviously the lawsuit regarding it. So the lawsuit of this company is with Philip Morris, and we can find out a bit more about this on their website. So basically, Healthier Choices states on their website down here, the Healthier Choices Management Corp files a patent infringement lawsuit against Philip Morris. So long story short, we can see that Healthier Choices are filing this lawsuit, and this was published on November the 30th, so you do know it was a while ago, but basically it states about how Hcmc believe that Philip Morris are infringing on their patent regarding the IQOS system. It's an alternative tobacco product sold and marketed by Philip Morris, and Philip Morris claims that they are approaching 40 million users of their IQOS product and has reportedly invested over $3 billion in their smokeless tobacco products. So you guys will already know the importance that this could have if Hcmc actually do win this lawsuit. There is a lot of money on the table, and that money definitely could be used to win Hcmc and turn the company around and make it into a really big company for the future. Now again, we see numbers down there like 3 billion, and I hear people talk about the potential of a payout of 3 billion, and yes, that definitely could be the case, but there are also some other things to think about. They have a law firm which are going to be expensive to pay for, and again, all things like this definitely are going to mean that we are not going to get the full 3 billion, and 3 billion really is not a guaranteed figure. It's just, you know, something which they have invested, so don't see 3 billion and believe that is what we are going to win, because it is not necessarily the case. Anyway, another thing which I think is important down here is that when we have a look to who is actually representing Hcmc, we can see that this is being represented by Cozen O'Connor, which is a law firm. Now, Cozen O'Connor really is one of the top law firms in the world, in my opinion. We can scroll over to here where we can see a rating for Cozen O'Connor, and Cozen O'Connor ranked 67th amongst all American law firms back in 2020. So you can see this is really going to be a really big law firm, and again, would Cozen O'Connor have taken on this case if they didn't think they could win? I personally do not believe that they would, as it would hurt their reputation. So clearly Cozen O'Connor have looked over this case and scrutinised it, and they must have enough of a conviction to believe Hcmc is going to win to take up the case. I think that could be a good thing for this company going forwards. And again, a lot of people are definitely talking about this lawsuit, and it is a main reason for a lot of people investing in this company. But I don't really think it should be, as I think this company really does have some good points from a fundamental standpoint, which definitely could serve it well in both the short and long term. Let's have a look at the outstanding shares figures for this company. Outstanding shares for Hcmc is sat at 308.9 billion shares, and again, that is a big number, 309 billion shares almost, and people are going to say that is a huge number. It definitely is, and actually one thing that I do want to add is that the number definitely probably is higher than that right now, as we can see that Hcmc did do that offering recently, which will have increased the amount of shares out there, so there will be more shares out there than there was last published on this date back here on the 1st of the 6th. So you can see that the share number will have gone up. That definitely could hint to why we are seeing a drop in price most recently for this company's stock. So again, when we actually adjust the amount of shares that have been added in recently, as I mentioned in a video just a few days ago, it really isn't that bad, and we would expect the number to be around the 0.009 to the 0.0007 range. So again, we are anticipating a bit more of a drop in the worst case scenario, but if we can remain in that 0.0010 range, that would be a much more comfortable level in my opinion. So yes, the number of outstanding shares is high, and that definitely does matter. People are going to say it will hinder the company's ability to allow the share price to move upwards, and whilst that is true to an extent, yes, I don't believe this company is going to hit $1 anytime soon, for example. It definitely does not mean that the company cannot move up in share price. For instance, we have seen highs up here of about 0.006, which definitely is much higher than where we are right now. It's roughly a 6 times increase in share price. And again, when we consider that, it really can move, obviously not to the point of $1 or even 1 cent really, but it definitely still can move upwards. So people who think it cannot move at all, I definitely believe that is not the case. Based on what we have seen in the past, just look out to the past year-to-date chart and you will definitely see that this company can move upwards when it comes to their share price. So again, that is good. I think we could definitely see some more movement upwards very, very soon if the company does keep improving itself on a fundamental level. And what am I talking about? Well, you guys who have followed the channel for a while will know that Hcmc definitely are working on improving on a fundamental level. When we go back to that rights offering, which I mentioned for healthier choices, basically the rights offering definitely did increase the amount of shares out there, but the reason for it was for the company to raise more funds. And the company was trying to raise more funds to obviously improve the business. Those funds will be invested back into the business and will help the company to grow in the future. I definitely think it was a smart move, even if it may hurt investors in the short term. So short term, it definitely will hurt in my opinion, but obviously long term, if you are looking for that approach, which I personally believe that any Hcmc investor should be, if you are following that line, I don't think it is too much of a big deal. Now, one thing that I always want to focus on with this company is their business strategy. The business strategy outlines 4 clear goals. Basically, they want to attempt to expand upon and actually monetize their patent suite. And we are actually seeing the company do this because obviously they're filing that lawsuit with Philip Morris. So that is a big deal, and they definitely are sticking to this area. They are wishing to operate and potentially expand upon their 4 health, food and vitamin stores. And again, as for that, we are seeing them actually work on this as well, as they have launched the vitamin store quite recently. So they definitely are also working on improving this area. And they also want to potentially operate and potentially expand upon their 7 retail vape stores, and obviously seek out new attractive business lines with its mission of healthier choices to add to its portfolio. Now, the third one over here, yes, we are seeing a bit of improvement, but the fourth one really is where a lot of my personal focus is. When we look over to the news on their website, we can see 2 articles. One was published on the 22nd and one was published on the 24th. And these both speak of 2 new partnerships for Hcmc regarding the Q Cup. So you can see what they are about. The first one we are going to read down here. This one is speaking about the Q Cup in Colorado. Now, this is obviously being launched by the Health Center. I think this is a big deal, and I think it will help the company because, yes, more Q Cups out there, more people will know about Hcmc as a brand, and obviously it will also help the company to build revenue, and it will help the company to sell their products in many places. So I think this really is a good partnership, and I think it will help the company. I think it does show that the business are still working on improving themselves, but I think the main partnership which I am focusing on here is the one which was published 2 days later, which is focusing upon the agreement with ATG Pharma, affiliate 6-pack solutions for the Q-Cup technology in Canada. So this is talking about the Q Cup being launched in Canada. I think this really is a big deal because, we are not really seeing this product being launched in Canada yet. I think launching it in Canada is a big move. I think it definitely is putting the company on the right step. And again, that definitely could help them to launch it in other countries going forwards, as we are seeing an expansion of the business and an expansion of areas which are being sold in and being distributed to. Now, another thing which is important in my opinion is the cannabis industry. Now, Hcmc and the Q Cup definitely could play a factor in the cannabis industry, and this is something which a company definitely does recognize going off what we have heard from their CEO. So the CEO of Hcmc is called Mr. Jeff Holman, and Mr. Jeff Holman speaks about this down here, where he said that the cannabis industry in Canada will be at $4 billion this year and will be expected to grow to $5 billion next year, and getting their products in there before a number of other competitors in the Canadian market will allow Hcmc to have a potential major advantage in terms of capturing early market share. Now, you guys will know how important this can be and how big of a deal this really could be for the company going forwards. If they can get an early advantage in there and, capture a lot of that market share, it will allow people to see how useful and how good Hcmc products are, and obviously it will allow them to establish their brand very well out there in Canada. So this definitely could help them if they can just grab a small amount of that $4 to $5 billion market share going forward. So I think this is fantastic that we are seeing. I think it really is a smart move from the company. And another thing that we know from the company as well is that the United States cannabis market is expected to grow massively in the future as well, and this is spoken about on the article at some point, where they speak about the US cannabis industry being worth around the $28 billion mark, and you can see that down here. So basically, recent reports say that by 2022 the annual cannabis sales will reach $28 billion in the United States and $5 billion in Canada. So you guys can see clearly that this could be an over $30 billion industry when we combine both Canada and the United States. And you guys don't even need me to explain why Hcmc being in there is a really, really smart move. I think, people who were investing in this company specifically for the lawsuit, that's all fine if you're willing to wait a few years. But I think a few of those people now are definitely seeing where the company is lying fundamentally. I think that is definitely allowing them to have a lot more confidence in this business. Because one thing that we are going to see now, in my opinion, is much stronger revenue going forwards, and again, that will help the company to improve and grow over time. And another thing which we do want to see from the company potentially is a buyback of shares, because as I mentioned, the share count definitely is too high in my opinion, and we aren't going to see any big movement to the $1 mark or to the 50-cent mark anytime soon if we don't have either a reverse split or a share buyback. Now, obviously, most people do want to see a share buyback over a reverse split, and there are a lot of arguments saying that yes, the company could do this with the money that they win from the lawsuit, or even they could do this over time, slowly and surely, with the increases in revenue that we are anticipating. I think, it is something that the company could do, because if they really do want to keep their investors happy, as they have shown in the past, it could be a smart move, and it could be a good thing to do. But on the other hand, it could also make more sense for the company to do a reverse split, because if you think about it, a reverse split does not cost the company any more money, and it definitely would improve the value of the shares. And again, if the share price got to about $3 or $4, maybe even up to $5, we could see this one being listed on the NASDAQ, which definitely could help them go forwards to get a lot more exposure. Now, when I speak about things like a listing on the NASDAQ or a winning of the lawsuit, I am not talking about this happening anytime soon. I'm talking about something which could happen years away. This is not something which I expect to be over anytime soon, and that is not necessarily a bad thing for those of you who are willing to wait. But for those of you who do not want to wait, for those of you who are looking for a quick stock to buy and sell, making a decent profit in a short amount of time, I do not believe that Hcmc is the company for you. I think this one does have a lot of potential, as I do always say, but I think we should also remember the amount of time it could take. I think most people now are comfortable with the length of time it could take, but some people still do not understand this. I do want to remind them of that. And again, this is just my personal opinion, but I've heard a lot of people talk about a short squeeze for Hcmc. I do not believe a short squeeze for this company is coming at all. A short squeeze isn't really something that we see in the market very often. I know right now, short squeeze is a hot thing which people are talking about. So yeah, don't get wrapped up into that one, because I personally do not believe that is going to happen for this company. I think the fundamentals are strong enough long term to mean that this company already does have potential, and we do not need to see anything like a pump in price or a squeeze or anything like that to show the amount of potential that this business does have. So I tried to keep this one very quick yet informative. I hope you did enjoy. Again, more interesting content is coming out through the week. Thank you for watching through till the end, but let me tell you about our Discord. So on your screen you will be seeing the N2S Finance Discord. Obviously it is split into multiple sections. Basically at the top we have updates from me and all that kind of good stuff. If you scroll down a bit further we have the main sections where we focus on cryptos, SPACs and other hot stocks including penny stocks, even stable growth stocks as well, and we even have a special AMC GME chat. If you scroll down you can see some research and DD from the community. We also have funny memes and you can see actual contributions from members down here. And again, if you do join us, it is completely free, link is down below. But if you do want to become a Patreon, you will actually get a pink sticker which will be displayed on your name. So your name will come up in pink as mine comes up in red down here, and that will show that you are a Patreon. But other than that guys, you can join completely for free down below. You do not have to pay anything if you do not want to. Thank you for watching, see you soon.